Hi, this is Sarah in Studio 304. In this video, I'm going to show you how to open your photo in Photoshop. We'll look at how the Photoshop workspace is set up, and I'll explain a little bit about how adjustment layers work. So the first step after opening Photoshop is to find your photo file and open it. So you just go to the File menu at the very top, choose Open, and you'll see a standard open window like in any other program. All of the folders in your computer are over here on the left. You might have your photos on a flash disk, an external hard drive, or an SD card, and all of those will be down a little lower under Devices here. Whatever you have plugged in will show up under Devices. My photos are on the desktop, so I'll go up here to the desktop and then choose the folder that it's in. So when you find the photo you want, click on it, you'll see a preview over here on the right, and then click Open. So you can open JPEGs or any other type of image file in Photoshop. So the workspace is this area over here on the right, and there's lots of different ways to set this up depending on what you're working on. There's a drop-down menu up at the top. So when you click on that, you'll see some options with preloaded setups for doing different things like 3D work or painting. So we'll choose photography since we're working with photos. Just to note that you can make changes in this setup if you want. You can click and drag on the edge of the window to make it wider so it's easier to see. And then if you ever want to go back to the way it was set up at first, if you click on the drop down again, there's an option that says Reset Photography in this case, and that will reset it to what it looked like when you first opened it. So the photography workspace includes this chart at the top, which is called a histogram. A histogram represents the overall brightness distribution in your image. So basically how many of the colors are bright and how many are dark, how many shadows and highlights there are in your photo. So a histogram can tell you whether or not your image has been properly exposed, whether the lighting is harsh or flat, and what adjustments will work best. So it's very useful for editing photographs. If you don't see this histogram at the top of your workspace, you can go to the Window menu up at the top and then make sure that the histogram line here is checked. And I'll tell you more about the histogram in the next video about using adjustment layers. Adjustment layers are just what they sound like. They're layers over your original photo that change how the photo looks. The good thing about them is that they don't actually change your original photo file. They just add to them a layer on top. And you can always go back and change the amount of the adjustment that you made, or you can turn the adjustment off altogether. If you don't see the adjustment panel at the top of your screen, it might be in a tab over here, or if you don't see that tab for adjustments, you can again go to the Window menu at the top and choose Adjustments. Each little picture or icon is a different type of adjustment layer. When you hover your mouse over the icon, it will tell you what the name of it is. So there's brightness contrast, and it even tells you create a new brightness contrast layer. So when you click on the icon, that creates the new layer. We're going to make one change in this setup of the adjustments panel, and that'll just make it easier to tell what's going on once we start editing the photo. To the right of the Adjustments tab, below the histogram, there's a little icon for a menu. So when you click on that, make sure that Add Mask by default is not checked. So we want that unchecked so it doesn't add that mask. And you can always add a mask later. The last thing to look at here in the workspace is the Layers panel below the Adjustments panel. And this shows you all the layers in your Photoshop document. And if you don't see this panel, again, you just go up to the Window menu and you choose Layers to bring it up. And to learn more about how layers work and see what happens when you add in layers, watch the next video about adjustment layers.